Hello, Junior League of Charlotte Change Agents. Welcome. I am officially calling our September 8th, 2021 General Membership Meeting to order. Tonight, as your 96th president, I'm incredibly honored and energized to be with you for our first General Membership Meeting of the 2021-2022 Junior League year. I love this time of year. There's always such new energy, a reawakening, and a fresh rededication to our mission and our purpose. And I felt that from each of you in the weeks leading up to this meeting. If you agree, drop a few comments in the chat so your fellow league friends know how excited you are too. And also, thank you for your flexibility as we moved in recent weeks to transition the business portion of this meeting to virtual only. Be on the lookout for smaller in-person and virtual gatherings to connect with one another in the weeks ahead. As many of you know, last year, the Junior League of Charlotte celebrated its 95-year legacy of creating change in the Charlotte community. Did you know that the Charlotte Nature Museum, Discovery Place, the Children's Theater of Charlotte, the Council for Children's Rights, among other Charlotte treasures, were established because Junior League women saw a need, rolled up their sleeves, and decided to do something about it. We have a rich history and a legacy of developing women, empowering women, and improving our community through the work of our trained volunteer leaders. That's you, which I'd like to refer to as our volunteer army. So tonight, let's unite around this mission once again. We have a great meeting in store for you. You will hear about the strategic goals and objectives of our organization and how each of our teams plays a role in furthering our mission and our impact in the Charlotte community. We each play a part. Board of directors and management team leaders will share with you about the great things our teams are doing with all of you to move our work forward. Also, we'll hear from community leaders in a panel discussion about the changing needs of our community and how the JLC can help. As you know, our theme for this year is JLC Change Agents. A change agent is a person who has the skill and power to stimulate, facilitate, and coordinate external or internal transformation. A change agent is a catalyst for change. They make changes happen by empowering and inspiring others. They encourage and challenge others to improve systems for the greater good. They promote, champion, enable, and even support changes necessary for transformation when duty calls. This is who we are. We are change agents, and I'm so excited about this year. So let's continue to be here for each other and for our community. As a board of directors, we are studying the principles of vulnerable leadership as taught through Brené Brown in her book, Dare to Lead. I highly recommend this book. In light of this fact, I'm going to practice a little vulnerability in this moment with all of you. And I will share with you that this year has already offered or presented several challenges, changes, transitions that I did not expect, and that fundamentally, in some ways, altered the way in which I anticipated functioning as your president. I share this with you in the spirit of vulnerability because I know that I am not alone. I have talked to several members who are dealing with unforeseen circumstances and challenges and are maybe finding that this year's JLC experience or their lives look different than they may have anticipated. Maybe this is you. Maybe even right now, you are feeling a little bit of that by the virtue of the fact that this meeting is now virtual instead of in person. Let me encourage you. Let me remind you that no matter how different it may look, no matter the adjustments that may need to be made, your work for the Junior League of Charlotte matters. Right now, there are children in our community who are starting school this year more prepared and more confident in their abilities to learn because of you. There are children with better health outcomes that impact learning because of you. Right now, there are families who are experiencing transitions and their children are more confident and secure because of the support you provide. There are children who have access to healthier foods that can aid their growth and development, thanks to you. Right now, there are about 1,500 women who have more confidence on their job or in other areas of their lives because of experience they gained here with you. Right now, there are about 1,500 women who are better connected and more empowered because of you. This is what it means to be a change agent. We are changing lives. I look forward to an impactful year with all of you. Meet me in the arena, and let's continue our work of changing lives. Now on to our President-elect, Christina Greatrix, for a reflection.
Thank you, Kelly. So while many of us had hoped that we would be in person for this meeting, it's still so good to be together virtually. Since our last in-person meeting, we've all faced a wide variety of challenges, and I hope that each one of you has had some silver lining. For me, the power of the Junior League of Charlotte has been part of my silver lining. Everything Kelly said, it's true. And we've found ways to continue our service despite needing to keep space in true change agent style. We've adjusted, we've pivoted, and quite frankly, we've just done what needed to be done for our mission to continue. And part of what makes us so impactful and so special is this double community focus that we have. We've all chosen to support not one, but two communities, the Charlotte community and the JLC community. And for a moment, I want to focus on our JLC community. One of my favorite authors and speakers, Simon Sinek, said, "A community is a group of people who agree to grow together." This is such an accurate description of the JLC community. The focus we have on building leadership skills and supporting each other as we take on new challenges demonstrates that agreement to grow together. Since last March, there were many times where I felt lonely, or I felt that the challenges I faced were mine and mine alone. And this applies to virtual school, work, even some Junior League efforts. But every time I took a step back, I picked up the phone, I called or I texted a friend. I had support. I just had to ask. That's why we're here. That's why we're part of a volunteer community, so that we can rely on and support each other. The phrase growing together is different than saying excelling together or winning together. Growing recognizes that not every day will be smooth, and while we may stumble, we will continue to push forward together. So please remember, none of us are alone. Let each community encourage you. Find support in the JLC community and be inspired by our impact in the Charlotte community. It is the mindset and the support of this JLC community that exponentially strengthens the value we can provide in Charlotte. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina, for that impactful reflection. So to further the mission of the Junior League of Charlotte, hundreds of women volunteer each year at a wide variety of community placements with a common goal of impacting a specific need for the community, the focus area. Starting in June 2018 through May 2023, JLC Focus, or our focus area, is school ready, whereas the JLC partners with our community to ensure all children are school ready by focusing on health and educational needs of children from birth to 5th grade in priority areas of Mecklenburg County. Every 5 years, the JLC reviews our focus area to ensure we are in line with community needs and membership interest. This year's Focus Advisory Committee will conduct research on the current needs of the community, survey JLC members, you, and evaluate the potential for projects to ensure that our next focus area is specific yet broad enough to provide a wide range of volunteer opportunities for our membership. Membership will vote on this next May at our next focused area, or on our next focus area. We are so excited about tonight's panel, knowing we will all learn more about our community and what we as individuals and as a league can do to support the ongoing work of our school system, our court system, and local nonprofits. Now I will turn it over to Jackie Topko and Annie Williams, who are both serving on this year's Focus Advisory Committee and will moderate tonight's panel. Jackie and Annie, on to you.
Thank you so much. So I have the pleasure of introducing Judge Ricky McCoy Mitchell. She is a JLC sustainer and district court judge for the North Carolina 26th Judicial District. She has dedicated her life's work to enriching youth, specifically focusing on children involved in the child welfare and juvenile delinquency systems. Judge McCoy Mitchell was appointed to the district court bench in 1998 and has been reelected for 6 subsequent terms, currently being the longest serving district court judge in Mecklenburg County. Before she became a judge, Judge McCoy Mitchell served as an assistant district attorney for the Mecklenburg County District Attorney's Office, a senior trial attorney for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and an attorney advisor for the Social Security Administration, and as staff attorney for legal services of the Southern Piedmont. She's been recognized for her leadership and advocacy efforts with many awards, including the Citizenship Lawyer Award, the Partnership in Building an Inclusive and Equitable Community Award, and from the Community Building Initiative, and the Order of the Longleaf Pine, one of our state's most prestigious awards. She's also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, Charlotte Alumni Chapter. She should be on briefly. She was previously experiencing some technical difficulties. On to you, Annie.
And I have the pleasure of introducing Ms. Carol Hardison. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Crisis Assistance Ministry, where she served since 2000. In this role, she directs all aspects of the independent nonprofit organization, helping Mecklenburg County families experiencing poverty with life's most basic needs, financial assistance to prevent homelessness, and vital clothing, household goods, furniture, and appliances for free. Carol and the team ensure that Crisis Assistance Ministry serves beyond the crisis by introducing pathways to economic opportunity, empowering families to improve their financial security, and engaging the community to create understanding of the complex issues facing neighbors living in poverty. She worked in information technology management at Duke Energy for nearly 2 decades before leaving the corporate world to follow her passion for serving people in poverty. She's been recognized for her leadership, community partnership, and advocacy efforts with multiple awards, including Charlotte Woman of the Year, the Leadership Charlotte Shelley Lyons Award, and the Martin Luther King Keeper of the Dream Award. She currently serves on the boards of the Fifth Third Bank North Carolina affiliate, the Ginter Foundation, and is president of the Charlotte Rotary. Carol enjoys waterfall hunting in the western North Carolina mountains, riding her bike, and spending time with family and friends.
Our third panelist for the evening is Dr. Frank D. Barnes, Chief Accountability Officer, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. Frank Barnes has served for over 25 years as an educator, researcher, and organizer. Currently, Dr. Barnes is the Chief Accountability Officer for the Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. Dr. Barnes came to CMS from the Boston Public Schools, where he was a teacher and later held the position of Chief Accountability Officer. In that role, he led the design and rollout of the district school turnaround strategy, resulting in more than half of the district's turnaround schools exiting low-performing status within 3 years, within 2 earning the highest school performance level possible in the entire state. Prior to Boston, he was a senior associate at the Annenberg Institute for School Reform at Brown University, where he worked with urban school districts across the country, helping them examine and improve conditions of schools. He has a BA from Macalester College and 2 master's degrees in teaching and curriculum and education policy and management, as well as a doctorate from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Dr. Barnes is also a former Broad Prize for Urban Education winner.
Our panelists are coming onto the screen. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We're excited to have you here. So we'll jump in with our questions. And we'll start with Dr. Barnes with this first question. Can you tell us how you got into your field and why you chose to stay?
Sure, thank you for that question. It really comes from my childhood. There was a vivid experience I had when I was about 12 years old. I was with 2 of my friends in my neighborhood, my next door neighbor and a friend of mine who lived around the corner. And I was the youngest of the 3 of us. Like I said, I was 12 years old. And we were very casually talking, and one of them pulled out his science book, and another one pulled out a math book. And what I casually observed was, although I was in 8th grade and they were already sophomores in high school, the math I had was more advanced than the math they were getting. And at that moment, what really struck me was I realized we had different opportunities, which possibly could lead to different life trajectories. And what was most painful for me is at 12 years old, I realized that even though they were my senior, they didn't know it. So at that point, I realized that there were disparities and differences that just were beyond the explanation of fairness, and that I wanted to transform those and impact those with my life. I stay in it because I still believe, with all of the obstacles and shortcomings and challenges we have in public education, that there is no instrument that has the potential to be more powerful than the education of the mind. The learning how to deliberate in a public sector, public society, and how to participate with our passions and pursuits and to pursue our dreams. So even though I have challenging days, as all of us do, I still believe that it's possible. And I'm encouraged by thousands of teachers and principals every day who show me what can possibly be done.
Thank you for that great story. Carol, what about you? Can you tell us why you left the corporate world and how you got into human services?
Yes, good evening. It's so great to be here with you all. So I was raised in a very social justice oriented household. Like Dr. Barnes, I believe it came from my childhood. My parents were always looking at the world from a lens of inclusion. We had an entire bedroom dedicated to hunger. It was called the bread room. And I never knew anybody else growing up that had a bread room. We would visit prisons for Christmas. And at times we would sing that old gospel song that became the protest song, We Shall Overcome, outside the Florida governor's mansion when it needed to be sung. And so it was probably inevitable that I would end up in a place like Crisis Assistance Ministry. But college took me to a degree in math and computer science, which took me to do a job at Duke Energy. And it was about 5 minutes after I got there that I realized great company, great job, but not connected to purpose in life. So I got involved in the community. Junior League, thank you, exposed me to housing and homelessness nonprofits. And after almost 2 decades, I realized it was time. And this job opened up. And like Dr. Barnes said, the passion, the energy, the people that I work with, the community keep me inspired and energetic in spite of all the challenges that I see every day.
Thank you for sharing that. Judge McCoy Mitchell, can you tell us how you got into the judicial field and why you choose to stay?
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think you've already heard about my technological challenges, which I think we all know that either can be something wonderful or not so when it's not working. So I think we're back on, and I am excited to be here, very honored to be here with our co-panelists. And becoming a judge was something that I've always wanted since I was a small child. I think sometimes we hear sort of those cliches, but growing up in a small Eastern North Carolina town where I did not get to see attorneys, much less judges, that look like me, but certainly see people impacted that look like me. And understanding that I've always wanted to be in a situation, as my grandmother had always taught me, like I think with both Dr. Barnes and Ms. Hardison, about it being in your DNA. My grandmother was one of those who, although from a financial standpoint, you don't think of being rich, but from a giving standpoint, was very much so. And so whatever she had, she would share, and always reminded me of the expectation to who much is given, much is expected. So that is what I've always based my life on, and wanted to make sure I was in a position to help people, to make a difference. And so as I continued to matriculate beyond the expectations at that time for what someone like me would have been expected to be able to achieve, coming from a single parent household, primarily reared by my maternal grandparents, obviously not a high income area, small town, but knowing that the expectations for my family is that you're not limited. And so if I wasn't limited, then the expectation would be that I would make sure others were not as well. And coming into the legal field, I definitely found opportunities to be able to help people. So I think you see from both my public interest work and governmental work that has been my role throughout my career. And then going to the bench was really an opportunity to be blessed with a platform where I actually could give a voice to those who are voiceless. And then also be able to use that as an opportunity to really impact people, seeing whether it was in juvenile court, young people who no one had expectations about flourish and become amazing contributors to society, or whether that also might be a situation with any of the other courts, seeing a change and understanding if you can give a little bit of input to that, then that makes a big difference. And that's why I stay there, because I believe that it is required of me to do all I can do and to be able to provide that platform.
Thank you all for sharing. What a great example of servant leadership. Let's go to you next, Carol, for the second question. What do you believe is the biggest challenge in your field right now?
So the pandemic has been really tough for everyone. Let's start there, right? As was shared in the opening. But for people who are low income and people of color, it's been especially brutal because it's been not only a health issue for them, it's been a disproportionate economic issue. And so the challenges of having your children at home from school when you're also deemed an essential worker, but you're not paid quite essentially, has brought thousands of people to the door of crisis assistance ministry. There is a backlog of nearly 3,000 evictions right now. We've got over 20,000 people who are behind on their rent. And so our biggest challenge is helping the thousands of people out there, many of whom never imagined they would need a dime of help, understand the complex system to get help and get back on their feet, because the system has become very complex during the pandemic and it was already a little tricky. And so in addition to providing the aid and the basic needs, we've become sort of a physical information and referral service as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Judge McCoy Mitchell, can you tell us a little bit about the challenges you're seeing in the justice system right now?
Yes, and I gave you an example of it. Technology has been one of our obvious challenges. There has been a lot of discussion within the court system about technology and be able to bring us up to date, because although the judicial system, as all of you know, is an equal branch of government, but it's the least funded, the least supported in so many ways. And so that's also between resources, including technology, has been a challenge. But I would tell you also at this particular time, like you heard Ms. Hardison talk about, the pandemic has been something that's peeled away other issues that we knew were there, but didn't get the same kind of highlight at that time. And one thing I'm so excited about the league is that you've been courageous. You've been willing to step up and address some hard issues. And when I say one of those hard issues has been about racial inequities. And so when we think about the pandemic and the court system, you may have remembered that our Chief Justice at that time, Sherry Beasley, stepped out and became the first Chief Justice throughout the country to make that bold statement that the justice system has to acknowledge that there has been disparities, disparate treatment, disproportionality of involvement when we're talking about Black and brown people. And to say that from the court system, you can only imagine what that meant. But like the court system and the league, you've decided that's still not something we can hide from. So for us, this pandemic and this challenge has been to make sure that the court has stepped up to say, yes, there's an issue. So what do we do about it? So for us, talking about anti-racism and judges. And can you imagine? Because we're always the ones that, people think about sitting in these high towers and untouchable people, and that we're just perfect and the egos are there. Well, not so. I'm proud that Mecklenburg County judges stood up and said, yes, we have an issue. What do we do? Like with Race Matters for Juvenile Justice. And I know we'll have an opportunity to talk about that in a few moments too.
Thank you. Dr. Barnes, we know this certainly has been a challenging year or more for education. Can you tell us what you think the biggest challenge is?
Thank you. I think even pre-pandemic, we recognized that we had obstacles and challenges. But I think one of our biggest challenges is in our fundamental design. I'm always taken back to 1961 on a football field in Houston at Rice University, where our then president, JFK, articulated a mission, a national objective to put a man on the moon and bring him back. And as part of that hallmark speech, which I've had a chance to listen to and read many times, he talks about the level of national investment it would take, financial investment it would take, the level of ingenuity it would take, the level of risk and commitment it would take. Literally, he said, from every woman, child, family, and community. And that was our national focus. And we understood that for such a call, such a level of investment and commitment over time would be required. And we have a similar kind of situation where we've built schools and school systems, and we've given them the mission to put a man on the moon and bring him back, proverbially. But yet we resource them with only the resources maybe to reach the stratosphere, maybe just to get outside of our atmosphere. Now, after the pandemic, after everything the other panelists have articulated, the gravitational pull of indifference, disparity, history is even stronger and greater. But we don't have necessarily the resources, the power and force to escape that gravitational pull, land and bring people back. Because that's what we're asking many schools, school systems to do, whether they're in urban America, rural America, or even in our suburban communities. So our biggest challenge is really issues of design, imagination, resource, and commitment as a country, not from educators, not from parents. I believe that every parent, I found that every parent, whether they be new to our country or from the most challenging circumstances, all want the very best for their children. No one keeps their good children at home and sends us kind of their second-class kids. Everyone sends us their best, and everyone wants the best for our kids. But we're grappling with so many things. It's how can we do what is needed and expected and equitable in light of the realistic challenges that we have as a resource, as a community. I think that's one of our biggest challenges that the Junior League and every partner you partner with can help us grapple with here locally in Mecklenburg County.
Thank you for your thoughts on that. Moving on to our next question, Judge McCoy Mitchell, what is something you wish more people knew or understood about your work?
I think that sometimes, unfortunately, when people think of judges, they just see us as on the bench, and we hear some cases. And some people actually think that the folks then go to the golf and do some golfing. I haven't done that, so I'm not sure which judges people are seeing do that, but not me. So I think that one of the misconceptions is really understanding what a judge does or should be doing, at least. And understanding, which I try to remind people with judges, that we're people too, and that we actually are members of the community. My children went to public schools with Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. So we're actually, thank you, Dr. Barnes. I believe in our public schools. So, and engage. It's still, I think as Dr. Barnes has learned, still engage because they're all our children. So understanding that we have a greater role, I believe. And so just kind of placing us in that box is a misconception. Now, I will not say that every judge does 24 hours every day of impacting the community. So we vary just like other people. But when we start to think about those issues that are impacted, is that I think that a big misconception that I've experienced too is that we are placed in a silo. And it's as if you're in the court system, you're in the court system. You have nothing to do with anything else, which is so not true. What we do in the court system impacts everyone, whether that's directly or indirectly. And what I get excited about, because people think that we're in that particular role, and what I know both Ms. Hardison and Dr. Barnes know, I have no problems with inserting myself in places, whether I'm invited to or not, but understanding that it's about our families and the communities, I think that's important, so that we understand that misconception that judges have a very limited role is not true. Actually, the judicial code of conduct that we're restricted by does allow us to educate and advocate on issues that are impacted by the court system. So that's why I get to work with Dr. Barnes in the School Justice Partnership to talk about how can the courts and the school system, which people often think are not in the same space, work together to achieve the same goals that we want for our children. That means, how do I get to work also with Ms. Hardison over all the years in so many different capacities, because our ultimate goal is ensuring the advancement and safety of all of our families, and particularly our children, because that's where my passion lies. So those are misconceptions that I hope I've had a chance in that couple of minutes to educate you more about.
Thank you. Dr. Barnes, can you tell us something you wish more people knew or understood about your work?
That's a good question. I think the biggest misconception we have, and I hope you ask me to come back after I say this, and I ask for humble apologies and grace from your listening audience and members. But I think one of the biggest misconceptions about education is that because we all went to school, anyone can be an educational expert. All of us have an experience of school, which is unique and invaluable actually. However, I went to the dentist and I went to the pediatrician's office every year, all the way through my life, and still go. But no one would ask me, how should we run a dentist's office? Although I can give feedback about the experience of a patient who goes through that experience through every level of specialty and intensiveness of supports. And I think because we have this shared universal experience, we sometimes devalue the expertise of educators who have devoted their craft to learning how to engage young people. Unfortunately, the level of stewardship that we've been given, we haven't always acted in the best interest of all students. And in instances, our results don't merit the level of trust that we sometimes would like to be endeared with. So there's a conundrum. We have this universal experience, which says that expertise is less valued. We have people with expertise who are experts, but we haven't necessarily delivered on the results that would engender the trust that expertise would come to in other industries. And I would also add on that just the historical legacy, going on only 15 more seconds, is rooted in a level of elitism and sexism devalued the education field a century ago. So even as we evolved as educators, because those who were going into education looked a certain way or from a certain background, we didn't build it up the way we build up other industries, be it business or the law or medicine. And so you have armies of everyday heroes who've invested their time to learn how to educate people, their content, and young people who are seen as disposable assets. And that just is a misconception, because those teachers, principals, staff people do work. And I think each of us could say that although we might have had some bad experiences here or there, no matter what type of school you went to, private, parochial, or public, each of us have encountered at least one person who made a difference in our educational journey. And those are the people I'm talking about.
Thank you for your thoughts there. Carol, what about you? What's something you wish more people knew or understood about your work?
I think where I spend the most time talking to people with misconceptions is in this topic of affordable housing. What's affordable housing? And the conversation usually starts with believing that somebody isn't working hard enough or long enough, hasn't been willing to take the extra hours that are offered to them. But just recently, some data was updated, like in the last couple of months. And it now takes $19 an hour to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in Charlotte. Just 1 bedroom. And this recent, it's called a labor shortage, but I'm calling it a wage shortage. And this recent wage shortage that we've experienced, we've seen a lot of $12, $13 jobs being put out there that used to be $9, but it's $19 an hour for 1 bedroom in Charlotte. There's also the belief in affordable housing by some that we can just build and build and build affordable housing units. There is a 30,000 number lack that we have. We will never be able to build 30,000 housing units. And so fortunately, the leaders in our community have been coming together and realizing we have to look at other solutions. Rental subsidies are something that a lot of communities use. You don't have to build a house. It can be tied to a person's income, and then you work with the family to help increase the income in the family or decrease the expenses. These are some of the things that we work with families on. And lastly, in the affordable housing arena, it's that affordable housing is going to reduce my property value. It's going to lead to more crime. And there's just simply no data that proves that. So it's probably the area that I spend the most time talking to people about.
Thank you for sharing that. Let's move on to the number one way we can make a substantial change or difference in these areas. What's the best resource for organizations and people who want to dive deeper into these issues? Let's start with you, Dr. Barnes.
Thank you. I think it's to look at things on two ends of the spectrum, one at the macro level and the other at the micro level. At the macro level, I think we have to continue to advocate at the state level and in some cases the county, but certainly at the state level for equitable and needed funding of our educational systems, not just in urban communities, but also for our rural communities as well. I think that's an ongoing issue. We still are grappling with Leandro and its evolution. And we still have not recovered to funding levels pre-recession. And so we need to talk about equitable funding and needed funding for transformational education. At the micro level, to continue to do what junior league members have done, continue to do, and will do in the future is invest in the life of an individual young person. Being able to be a tutor, a mentor, someone who helps be an advocate and help them navigate systems and processes. I think Junior League has experience on both ends of that continuum. And I think that kind of leadership, servant leadership, is still needed and will never go out of style.
Thank you for your thoughts there. Judge McCoy Mitchell.
I very much agree with Dr. Barnes. I would state it just slightly differently, and that would be both education and action. Education from the standpoint of particularly in areas of issues about anti-racist work. And despite our wanting to be in that kind of Pollyanna view of life that we all would want, there's some areas that we have challenges in, and that until we acknowledge them, learn about them, work on them, regardless of all of the other good things we do, we're still not going to maximize where we could be. So that education piece is understanding those issues. Like as we talked about with the implicit bias, anti-racism work, I would encourage you to look at RMJJ, so rmjj.org. Dr. Barnes and Ms. Hardison have heard this from me forever, so they know they've been very involved in it. but that tells you of places that you can go to look at resources to learn about those issues, and that we have what we call equity workshops. And both of them would attest that they're difficult workshops, but they're critically important and transformational for us to learn about the issues and work through them and see how do we move forward in doing that work. So part of it is about the education and their area and other issues. The second part, which I really wouldn't even call a second part, so I think it's 1A and 1B, the education and then the action. People go, oh, this problem is so big, I can't do it. How am I going to make a difference? But just like Dr. Barnes outlined for you, and he knew that pulled at my heartstrings to talk about our young people. Our young people are doing some amazing things that I don't think that we even realize. They are already leaders, and they will continue to be our leaders. So how do we best support them? That means that while we can work in programs like RMJJ, do the mentoring, all the work that the league has done with establishing different programs and opportunities for young people and focusing and being that voice in the community for our young people, sometimes it's right in your home. The young people who are right there in your home that you talk to, you empower, you enable and educate them to become the leaders and further their talents and skills, because you and I both know, despite how cool we think we are, and I think I'm cool, but despite how cool we think we are, if a young person says something to another young person, I say the same thing, who are they going to listen to? So it's so important. And I don't need to talk to you about statistics and disproportionality. You know all of that. You know what's happening in our community. You can't turn on the TV without looking at issues about violence, and how it breaks my heart when I see young people coming through my court, 14, 15 years old, now for criminal court, 16, which North Carolina finally got it understood that 16-year-olds are not adults. But as we realize that these are young people coming through here, and we're seeing some horrific situations, which obviously we have to deal with that. But as the Junior League knows, when we talk about readiness, school readiness, when they get to school, and Dr. Barnes has been amazing with working with us in the school justice partnership. Ms. Hardison, no, I will call her in a minute to tell her what one of my young people need, and I expect it to happen, and she makes it happen. But we've got that, but we have to remember that although there are things that are happening with our young people that we would not like to be the situation, how much are we responsible for that? Because as the league knows, if we're talking about being ready, if a child is dealing with domestic violence and having 150 shots go into your house, not having breakfast that morning, how dare we expect when they get to school that they're ready to go? And that's what the league knows. That's why we look at, and I say we, because whether you're a member of the league or you're a partner in the community, it is we. They're our children, they're our community. It's about what do we do to make that difference. So individually, and all of the league members and monies and support of programs, that's what you do. And if you want some specifics, as President Lofton has heard from me on many occasions, call me. Email me. I can talk to you about where we have specific needs. And I invite you to the courtrooms. Right now we have the remote situations because of the pandemic. But when we talk about numbers, it's easy to say the numbers. But when you look in that child's face, it's a whole different story.
Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. Carol, what about you? What do you think on that question?
Well, first, I've made a note to myself. I don't ever want to follow the Honorable Ricky McCoy Mitchell again. Oh my gosh, both of you! I'm so inspired by my fellow panelists. So, Brian Stevenson is such a hero of mine. He is in Montgomery, Alabama, and runs the Equal Justice Initiative, and recently built the National Museum for Peace and Justice. And he has a quote, that says we cannot create justice without getting close to the places where injustices prevail. And then his closing comment is, we have to get proximate. I've gone to see him speak a few times, and he always works that in. We have to get proximate. So what I'm saying is, in your life, wherever you are today, there's actually specific opportunities to be proximate. And this is what I mean, because obviously I'm aware of the incredible work that you're doing in the community. So this is an example of what I mean. Crisis Assistance Ministry does a poverty simulation that's now gone virtual. It's a 1-hour experience. And we have a group of customer advocates that are people that were served at Crisis Assistance Ministry and have said to us, I would like to give back. I would like to express my appreciation. And so for those who are interested, we invite them to join us at the poverty simulation to specifically talk to the people that are participating. It's all Zoom right now. And make it real, help them get proximate. But what then happens is people will go back to their workplace or the school or their family and their neighborhood and realize there's opportunities everywhere. We had a board member do the poverty simulation, and she worked at a local business where someone was always getting in trouble and talked about for being late to work. So this person finished the poverty simulation and went back and realized they ride the bus to work. And the work day started at 8, and the time that the bus dropped off 3 or 4 blocks down the street was 5 till 8. Mm-hmm. And so it hit her that the system that was right around her was actually the reason why this employee was late. And so what she did in her workplace was she changed the start time for this group of employees. And for the group of employees that had the hourly job that clocked in at 8 o'clock and made the start time 8:15. She was no longer late. She wasn't faced with losing your job. And by the way, when you clock in, you miss 5 or 10 minutes a day, that can build up by the end of the week and be a couple of meals. And so you don't really ever know. I never really know where that opportunity is, but going through the simulation and thinking about Brian Stevenson keeps me aware and makes me realize there's little things that all of us can do right where we are in our lives.
Thank you so much for that. I know we're getting close on time, so I want to ask you, in one word, tell us what you're most excited about in your field or industry this year. So we'll start with you, Carol.
I knew that was coming. Those 6 words. Okay, what's I'm most excited about? It is, what's the word for? I'm going to say transformation. Okay, I have to say, I guess, more words to explain it real quickly. What we've been doing the past year and a half is short-term Band-Aid fixes in the world that I live in. Thank goodness for billions of dollars of stimulus funding and millions of dollars that this community raised to help. But that's not going to help people transform to a long-term place of stability. So in our agency, we've been brainstorming ways we can help create transformation instead of short-term fixes. Was that more than one word?
That's okay. Let's go to you, Judge McCoy Mitchell. One word.
Now you're going to ask the judge to use one word. Now, right? I do just permission for 2, just 2. Non-traditional partnering. The court is looking for you, Junior League. See, that was quick. Okay.
Good job. Thank you. Dr. Barnes.
Based on what Ms. Hardison and Judge McCoy Mitchell said, I'm going to say perspective.
So I just want to say thank you guys so much. I have been taking a lot of notes, transformation, non-traditional partnering, perspective. I hope you all have takeaways from this evening. I want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And I'm sure our league members feel exactly the same way. Thank you for everything you are doing every day and on behalf of our community. Now we're going to turn things back over to our president, Kelly Lofton. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Wow. What an enlightening and powerful discussion. Thank you, Annie and Jackie, for moderating this conversation. I greatly appreciate your leadership. And a special thanks to our panelists, Judge Ricky McCoy Mitchell and Ms. Carol Hardison, both a part of our Junior League family, as well as Dr. Frank Barnes for sharing their time and very valuable insights to help us better support our community. We appreciate you. Thank you. Now, Junior League of Charlotte, knowledge is power. Let's put this knowledge to work in service to the community we love, and in service to one another. Now, as a quick look ahead for the meeting, so many Junior League leaders prepared to be with you tonight and have so much great information in store for you. So please stay for the duration of the meeting. Our hope is that together you will see how each of us is playing a role to further our mission, united. Next, you will hear updates from our board of directors and how they are working to further our strategic priorities and objectives of the organization. This will include learning more about our focus area review and evaluation process, our organization's strategic plan, an upcoming membership survey to capture input from you on what you're looking to gain as a member and how you want us to contribute in the community, as well as information from the nominating committee and how we can just help celebrate our association's 100th year anniversary. So much more. Then we'll have a change agent mission moment or a member testimonial, followed by JLC Rockstar recognitions, and finally, important updates from our management team council leaders. So now, without further ado, on to the board of directors for our board committee and task force updates. Thank you.
Hello, ladies. My name is Amanda Bagwell, and I serve as a member of the League's Board of Directors this year. I'm also co-chairing our Focus Advisory Task Force, along with CIC Assistant Manager Carolyn Vinton. As Kelly mentioned prior to our panel, our mission is to complete an assessment of the current focus area and make a recommendation to you as our members on continuing, modifying, or developing a new focus area. This will take research of our community, as well as gauging you as our members' interest. As you'll see on our next slide, the purpose of a focus area is to find an impactful way to use our resources and volunteers to meet a specific need in the Charlotte community. Our community partners, or in other words, our community placements such as Classroom Central or Renaissance West, must always fall in line with what our focus area is. Taking a look at our next slide to see the change agents that include our panel moderators, Annie and Jackie, as well as active members, sustaining members, members of HRC, CIC, and other league leaders, all of whom are working to further our mission by doing this work to find our next focus area. If you'd like to take a moment to take a mental note of someone you may know, and you can reach out to them with any questions or comments you have during the year that Focus Advisory might need to know. And of course, Carolyn and my inboxes are always open. As previously mentioned and stated on our next slide, our current focus area is school readiness for children birth to 5th grade and priority zip codes. This is our focus from June 2018 to May of 2023. And as I did say, all of our community placements align with impacting school readiness. So if you'd like a visual like me, our next slide will show you a timeline of how we'll go from our current focus area to our June 2023 focus area. Over the next 2 years, we'll move from the research phase, which we are currently in, including surveys, feedback from community experts and partners, to a final vote from membership in May of this league year, to community partner evaluations and voting, also known as Project Development and Evaluation Day next November. And finally, to allocating our resources and volunteers to community partners that can make an impact on our new or continued focus area beginning in the summer of 2023 and continuing over the next 5 years. And don't worry, we'll be updating you in between all these things with our progress. Now, here comes our ask of you on our next slide. This month, the Membership Engagement Task Force will put out a survey that includes multiple questions related to our focus area, current and prospective. The more participants that we have, the better. This includes you provisionals as well. If you've had community placements in the past, reflect on those and consider where you want to spend your time. Periodically, we'll send out updates and data we've collected. Review that as well as educate yourself on community issues. And finally, I just want to say from a personal note, you should never be afraid to reach out to us or speak up, because this decision affects the future of our league. And even if you were to transfer or to sustain, this is still your legacy. So this is our league and your voice makes us all better. So I just want to thank you for your time tonight and pass it on to Christina for our governance tips. Have a great night.
Thanks, Amanda. I feel like your inbox is going to be flooded after that panel. We certainly learned a lot about some great issues, and we'll look forward to learning more about our next focus. Right now, our focus and our strategic plan are all kind of intertwined. So I want to take a quick minute to go through our strategic plan, as well as touch on how governance impacts that and how we execute on it. So the speakers who will follow me today, you'll hear from them, and hopefully it all ties into this. Our strategic plan that you can see up here, small font, you can find it online, has 4 key goals, and we refer to them as the 4 M's. So members, marketing, impact, the stretch, and money. And it's important to note, kind of as Amanda said, these goals, the objectives underneath, they all come from member feedback. So what we work towards with this, it's built on what we all decided that we wanted to work towards as a group. So right now, let's take a quick look at the governance and our mission, the role of governance and our mission. So the board has governance responsibility for monitoring the annual and strategic plans and the committee action work plans. So our policies, our procedures, and our bylaws all provide the rules of the road that keep us on track and aligned as we move forward with the league year. Now, there are 4 goals, as you saw on that previous slide, with a total of 12 objectives, which is a little bit daunting. So each year we narrow our focus on some of the more specific objectives. So this year, we're focused on 3 objectives that tie under that member goal. So if we take a look at the next slide, this is one of our focus areas for the year, and it's really looking at what engagement looks like and how we can create activities, connections based on specific membership needs. Second, focusing on our member trainings. Do they align with our overall focus? Do they align with our mission? We can jump ahead 2 slides. And then the third goal the third objective, let me say, tied into that goal based on membership, is making sure we embrace the diversity of our league, make sure we appreciate what everyone brings, and that we allow everyone to thrive in the league. Now, under our marketing goal, if we can go back 1, we're focused on objective 2A under marketing. So it's marketing the JLC brand to the general public. While we do have a task force working on this, this is something we can all do just by telling our story, our interactions, what we've learned, and what we've done within the league. And then lastly, our last focus area for this year ties into the third goal, impact. And it's partnering with our community to focus on school readiness and the impact we can make. So part of that is narrowing that focus. While we'd love to do it all, we recognize that we need to figure out where we make the most impact. So as I mentioned at the beginning, each council's pulled together plans to keep focus on these objectives. So you should hear these themes throughout their presentations and their updates. And next up, we'll start with a presentation on the money with financials from our CFO, Walker.
Good evening, Junior League of Charlotte. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Finance Committee. For those who have served with me in the leagues thus far, you know I love an efficient update, so I will keep this short but sweet. As Christina said, my name is Walker McClear, and I am this year's CFO alongside our amazing VP of Finance, Rachel Besnoff. We've been very busy in the first quarter of this league year, closing out last year's deficit-free fiscal year, working to integrate the new committee members, and streamlining some of our more historic processes along the way. As many of you who serve on our committees know, we have created a new reimbursement form to help simplify the process and are utilizing a new program called Melio to expedite getting reimbursement requests back to members as soon as possible. One project we've been working on pretty hard during Q1 in conjunction with the amazing leaders of HRC is an update to our dues payment date and our dues payment plan. As you can see on the slide, the Finance Committee hereby notifies membership that effective immediately, dues deadline has been modified from March 31st to May 1st. We hope that this extension will give members not only an opportunity to kind of separate one of our large fundraisers, Little Black Dress, from when dues are due, but just gives people the opportunity to finish their requirements prior to the end of the year with no impact financially. Our late fee of $30, which we have waived in the past year as a result of Code-19, will still be in effect this year, and we have changed this date to align with the dues date of May 31st from the original date. In conjunction with this change of date, we have also implemented 3 new payment plans. The first being the Winter 5 payment plan. This will allow members to pay 1/5 of their dues over 5 months, starting in October 1st through May 1st. The second payment plan, our Spring 5 payment plan, will allow members to pay 1/5 over 5 months, starting January 18th, which follows our second general membership meeting, through May 1st. And lastly, our Spring 3 payment plan. This will allow members to pay 1/3 over 3 months, starting March 15th through May 1st. These proposed changes, we believe, also will allow members to have catch-up payments if for whatever reason you missed that month deadline, so long as their 3 to 5 payments are made prior to May 1st. As stated previously, these are in effect immediately as these policy and procedure changes have been presented to and approved by the management team. Because this is a new procedure, Rachel and I have played guinea pigs. The links work, but if you should have any questions or concerns regarding the updated payment plan or dues dates, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Rachel. Nice and sweet and short. Now moving on to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am Spencer Lash. I am your Chief of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion this year. This is a new official committee this year, so we are super excited. I just want to kind of go over some quick definitions for all of you. You may have seen diversity, a definition before, but this is what the Junior League of Charlotte uses. Realistically, short terms, diversity just means different. All of us on this call are different. And a lot of people have thought of diversity when it comes to race, but you can see here, we talk about race, ethnicity, gender, age, religion, physical and mental ability, sexual orientation, education, economic status, career, your military experience, your marital and your parental status, and ideas, diversity of thought, ideas, perspective, and values. So when we talk about diversity in the Junior League of Charlotte, we are talking about it on all realms. Now, moving on to the next slide with inclusion. This is what the Junior League of Charlotte talks about when it comes to inclusion. The next slide shows that inclusion is the act of creating environments in which any individual or group can fully participate and each person feels welcomed, respected, supported, and valued. An inclusive and welcoming space embraces and celebrates differences and offers respects in words and actions for all people. The slide that talks about equity, that is something that not everyone is familiar with. So one more slide. Next, perfect. Equity is the fair, back one more real quick. So equity is the fair and just distribution of resources, opportunities, and power. Advancing equity just means striving to identify and eliminate barriers that prevent the full participation of some groups. And that means changing systems, policies, and practices to address the root causes. So on the next slide, you can see there is some confusion sometimes about equality versus equity. So this is just a simple kind of drawing. So equality means giving everyone the same exact thing. But you can see in this picture, not everyone starts at the same level. The first man is taller, and then the last little kid. So he doesn't need a box. The one in the middle needs one box, but the little kid needs two boxes to be able to see over the fence and see the baseball game. So that's just an easy way to tell the difference between equality and equity. So how does this all relate? On the next slide, we can see the quick, easy definitions. Again, diversity is the presence of differences. Equity is promoting justice and fairness. Inclusion is ensuring those that are diverse are welcome. One of the very first trainings I took in the Junior League of Charlotte, my provisional year, I was introduced to this quote by Verna Myers that says, "Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance." And for the last 5 years, I have talked about this quote so much, but then we talk about equity as well. If you can go back just to that slide. So how does equity fit into this? So if you add equity into that phrase, it's ensuring everyone has appropriate transport to the dance. So it's saying diversity is being invited to the party. Equity is making sure everyone knows how to get there and can get there. And inclusion is then being asked to dance there. So on to the next slide. Those are just a quick few definitions, how we look at diversity, equity, inclusion in the Junior League of Charlotte. Now I want to talk to you about JLC affinity groups. Those are a collection of individuals who share similar goals, interests, and they can kind of help facilitate change in the Junior League of Charlotte. They're actually recognized groups that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, and benefit member satisfaction and members in their league experience. They also create a safe space for these women to network, mentor with each other, and then training. Next, on the next slide, you can see that the Junior League of Charlotte currently has one affinity group. That is the Women of Color group. This group was informally operating for years, but received formal recognition by Junior League of Charlotte leadership during the 2017 to 2018 league year. And given how many diverse women that we have in the league, there are opportunities for all of you to get together and establish affinity groups. And it's actually really, really easy to do. The next slide shows how simple it is to do. So all you have to do is get your group of women together, whether that be 5 women, 500 women, whatever common interest or diverse group that you think that you are, get together, submit a proposal to the chief, myself, and VP, Vice President of DE&I. We'll then look over that and then we'll present it to HRC for a vote. Once HRC votes, it then gets presented to management team for a vote and then to the board for a vote. And if it's approved, you're created on Digital Cheetah and you are totally good to go. Some other ideas for affinity groups are an LGBTQ group out there, a working moms group, a single moms group, just anything that you think that you're like, hey, I need more help and support from other members in the league out there who are like me. So those are just 3 easy examples. Again, we already have women of color. If you're not in that group and want to be, let us know. We'll make sure you get added. Any other questions you have, those will be great. And before I go on the next slide, I just want to mention one quick thing. There is an event tomorrow. It's Partisan versus Politics. It's just going to be virtual at 6:30. You can register on Digital Cheetah. It is all about how does a Junior League of Charlotte get involved in things that may look political, but actually aren't. What exactly can the Junior League of Charlotte do? We're going to walk you through those, do some brainstorming, hear your ideas of what you want the league to get involved with and start accomplishing. So that is all I have for you. On the next slide is my email address. It's simple, spencerc.jlc@gmail.com. My inbox is always open. Questions, comments, concerns, send them my way. If you want to have a one-on-one conversation, talk more, I am always here and free to do that. But up next, we have Brandy from Nominating.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brandy Edwards. I am excited to be here with you tonight as your 96th Nominating Committee Chair. I am looking forward to sharing with you all of the amazing things happening with our leadership this year with the Junior League of Charlotte. So first up, I want to introduce you, if you haven't already been introduced to the Nominating Committee's themes this year. We are going full force with our change agent theme, and therefore we are looking to decode, develop, and diversify our league members. So first off, decode, probably the most important piece of our themes this year, is really to demystify this crazy secrecy around the nominating committee, our role, and what we intend to do in terms of developing our leaders and choosing our slate of leaders this year. The develop piece of our theme is really staying the course with developing the leaders of the Junior League of Charlotte, but our goal is to do it in new and innovative ways. And then, of course, diversify. It was great timing coming after Spencer. With this lens of diversity, inclusion, and equity, we want to be sure that we are applying that lens to all of the functions of the nominating committee. We take very seriously the voice of our membership that have invested in this integral part of our mission. And so we're going to do our part to ensure that diversity, equity, and inclusion is a part of our role to ensure success of both our organization and the impact that we have on our community. Next slide, please. So I'm really excited to extend congratulations to our newest DE&I committee members. Tiffany White and Jaden Bonaparte were named the new members of the committee. As many of you were participants in helping us identify these two talents, I can't say enough thank yous to all of you that put them on our radar. These ladies really shine through, and we are certain they will be assets to the committee. So congratulations there. Next slide, please. Our work here is not done. However, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to be a part of the Slate leadership experience. We're calling on all of our change agents to make sure that we are building a pipeline of leaders that will support the mission and vision of the Junior League of Charlotte now and years into the future. So it is Slate time, and we need you to nominate leaders and to apply. We want to declassify this experience. We want it to be accessible to everyone so that we have an amazing leadership team in place moving forward. Next slide, please. So here's the nitty-gritty. The Slate Leadership Experience is now. Nominations are currently happening, right? So from 9/1, September 1st through September 21st is the nomination period. And just before that closes, our application period opens. This is the time where you actually declare that you are interested in one of our slated leadership positions. From September 17th through October 4th, this period is open. And I want to remind everyone that you have to apply in order to be considered for one of the positions. It's not enough that you're nominated. That just simply means that someone sees potential in you, but you have to take the step. I want to take this opportunity to let you know about a lot of resources that our committee has developed this year. The first being our Slate Leadership Workshop, which is on September 18th. Registration is available now on Digital Cheetah. And in addition to that, we have developed a Slate Toolkit. It's the first of its kind, so I'm excited to share that with you. If you're unable to join the workshop, this is meant to be a compliment. So those of us who cannot attend and get the full experience, you will have an opportunity to download the Slate Toolkit. And that's going to give you the high points so that you are prepared for the are prepared to apply for the Slate leadership positions. In addition, we have developed a leadership library. It is available on the YouTube channel. So many of you, if you logged in a little bit early, I hope it was front and center for you to see. But the leadership library is meant to give you a little bit of perspective on some of these leadership roles that are available for Slate. So you have an idea, it sets an expectation, and you'll also hear a little bit about the leader's journey to that particular role. And so getting ready to lead, we want to make sure you follow this checklist, review your resume, line up your references, review the Slate Toolkit, identify the positions of interest, and you can do that by checking out our nominating guide, which is also available on the nominating page, and then identify change agents to nominate. Now is the time that we need you to be involved. So that's nominate, apply, and join us for the leadership workshop on September 18th. And I am happy to be here on behalf of the Scholarship Committee. This is the second year that the Junior League of Charlotte is offering scholarships, and I could not be more proud to be here as a recipient of an inaugural scholarship. So I want to be sure to tell you more. I want to make sure that everyone is aware that these are available for you, and just how amazing of an opportunity it really is to be considered for this scholarship program. So there are 4 merit-based scholarships available. 1 will be awarded for a slated leader, 1 for a non-slated leader, 1 for a committee member, and 1 for the provisional of the year, which is selected by the management team. So our committee is hard at work developing all of this program for you all, and applications will be available in January. So be sure to mark your calendars and get ready. And then awardees will be selected in March. And the best news ever, dues will be paid for 2022-2023's league year, as well as an opportunity to join some really influential programming that the Junior League of Charlotte offers as well. So I hope you'll join me in watching this brief video from me, talking a little bit about this experience as a Junior League of Charlotte scholarship awardee. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandy Edwards, and I am this year's Scholarship Task Force Chair, but I am so honored and excited to be inaugural Cluett Scholarship honoree. I can't tell you how much this means to me. I think I was in a unique position last year as board secretary to be able to hear all of the amazing planning and development for this scholarship program. And so to be honored, when I got the call, I was over the moon. I was surprised, grateful, and just really excited. Being a member of the Junior League of Charlotte is something that I enjoy. It's not something I take for granted, and it is something that I do my very best to be an ambassador within our communities. So being the inaugural scholarship winner, I know is something that will go down in history. And I want you all to know that I don't take that responsibility lightly. I'm so grateful that our organization was able to develop a program like this to continue to support our leaders within the organization. It's going to be awesome to continue my journey, and it's just amazing that I have the ability to do so with a year's worth of dues paid and the opportunities afforded to be a part of some integral programs like Get On Board that we offer. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I get the pleasure of working with all of you this year to continue on with building this beautiful legacy of development, support, encouragement, and training for our leaders in the Junior League of Charlotte. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Molly Morgan from the Membership Engagement Task Force. I am here tonight just to give you a heads up that we'll be sending out a membership survey in the next few weeks to get a pulse on how we're serving our members and meeting them where they are today. We typically conduct these surveys every few years in order to avoid survey fatigue, but we felt it was particularly important in light of COVID and all the changes in our lives and how we engage with one another to send this out. So we invite you to share your honest and candid feedback so that we can continue to improve the overall membership experience. Your feedback is vitally important in helping us shape the future of the league. So thank you in advance for your participation.
Good evening. My name is Allie Hansen, and I serve on the board of directors along with my co-lead, Jana Altman. We're really excited this year to be co-leading the Leader Framework and Member Transformation Task Force. And I just wanted to come on here to give you a quick update on what we're working on. So our committee is currently working on developing a core competency-based leadership framework that we hope will continue to shape your member experience. We will be working on defining what skills JLC members develop through their league experience, as well as developing a sustainable way for league members to track and define your league experience. We look forward to updating you as we continue to define this framework throughout the year. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Casey Cogburn. I'm a board member this year and also one of the co-chairs of the Advocates Task Force. And so on the next slide, here's our three main goals we've been working on this year listed on the screen. The first one is we've been researching whether to reestablish SPAC, which is the State Public Affairs Committee. And that's essentially coalitions of junior leagues within a state that work to educate and take action on public policy issues relevant to the junior league mission. North Carolina does not currently have one. We used to, and in fact, only a small number of states currently have one. So in our research, we found out that AJLI has started a program or a project with about 10 leagues around the country, one being Winston-Salem, to determine if or how to bring back SPAC in a way that is beneficial and meaningful for the league. So it's a 2-year project that just started in May of this year. So it's in the beginning stages, but hopefully we'll get some information soon that we can pass along to all of you. Then in our second goal that's listed there, we've been in contact with other leagues in North Carolina who are interested in working with us to put on a session similar to the statewide session we had last year, if any of you attended that. And I believe we've got our topic picked, and we're now just working on determining dates and logistics. But last year's session was so successful and we had a great turnout. So we're excited that there's a lot of interest this year to bring that back. So please be on the lookout for more information about the statewide session. And then there you can see the third goal, which is in line with the third strategic plan priority that Christina discussed earlier tonight. We're hoping to host some smaller group sessions, which may end up being virtual, but where we will have some people from the community to come in and help educate us and talk to us about why our school readiness focus matters, how it impacts our community specifically, and how we as change agents can advocate for that in an impactful way. So please be on the lookout for that in the statewide session. And if you have anyone that you would love to see in any of those sessions or panels, please reach out to me because it's not quite finalized. Thank you.
Everyone has a story, and this includes the Junior League of Charlotte and its members. Good evening, I'm Erin Breeden, and this year, the fabulous Katrina Lewis and I are co-chairs of the Marketing and Outreach Task Force. Our team is focused on not only telling the stories of our league, but on telling the stories of our members as well. Christina alluded to our committee a bit earlier during her strategic plan discussion, but let's go a bit deeper. Our goals this year are to build awareness for the JLC within the greater Charlotte community. This will be done from awards, media placement, speaking engagements, and other opportunities. Our next goal is to highlight our members who are doing amazing things, not only in the JLC, but outside of the league. Let's be honest, we're all amazing and we have a lot going on, so let's talk about it. And our third goal will be to educate our members on how they can be ambassadors for the JLC, how to talk about the league to their family, friends, and coworkers. Now, we have a small but mighty committee, and we are going to need your help. And there are two ways that you can help us this year, and you'll be hearing more from us shortly about these options. Don't be afraid to toot your own horn. If you or someone you know on your committee is doing amazing things, we want to know. Let your chair know, and then help us to promote you or your friend and what they're doing. Second, work on your elevator speech for the Junior League. I know many of us have probably been tasked with this in corporate world, and it's the same for the league. How do you talk to your friends, your family, and your coworkers and others in the community about the league? Do people understand what you're doing? Are you telling them, are you shouting it out and letting them know that you are a member and a change agent? As I said at the beginning, everyone has a story, and our committee looks forward to hearing yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin, and thank you, Board of Directors. We will now have a member testimonial brought to us by Patrice Gibson. Patrice is a transfer to the Junior League of Charlotte and has had many experiences that have shaped her journey and allowed her to have impact in various communities, including Charlotte. Patrice, let's hear how the league has impacted you and how you are living out the Junior League mission. On to you, Patrice. Thank you.
Hello, Junior League of Charlotte. My name is Patrice Gibson, and this year I'm serving on the JLC's Membership Engagement Task Force. I joined the Junior League in 2015 in Durham, North Carolina, because I wanted girlfriends and I wanted to impact my community. But I had no idea that the Junior League would provide so much more. I didn't realize how they provide opportunities for me as a leader, provide growth and training that would allow me to not only impact my workplace in a greater way, but my community as well. We got relocated for my husband's job to Atlanta, Georgia, and I transferred my membership to the JLA, only to move again back to my hometown of Charlotte. So I transferred my membership again, and I couldn't wait to get involved with the JLC, but this time it was different because I would be making a difference in the community that built me. This year, I joined the Membership Engagement Task Force because I wanted to make sure that you know you were created with unique skills and talents that no one else has. You were created for such a time as this, and the JLC needs you. We need you, our community needs you, and we need what you have to offer. You are a change agent. We're all change agents. And this sisterhood of women can be the change that our community needs. During the celebratory 100th anniversary of the Junior League, where do you want to make an impact this year? What were you designed to do? As we navigate through these times, let's stay connected, let's stay focused, let's grow together, like Christina said, and let's make an impact on this community who needs us now more than ever. I feel honored and blessed to work alongside you as we make this league year our best yet.
Hi, I'm Whitney Hill, the Executive Vice President for this league year. While you just heard announcements from the Board of Directors, shortly you'll be hearing from our management team leaders. As a reminder, the management team is made up of all 5 of our council leaders: the VP of Finance, the VP of Diversity and Inclusion, the Nominating Vice Chair, the Risk Manager, the EVP-elect, Sustaining Advisor, and me. This team is responsible for working to accomplish the end goals set by the board and carrying out the day-to-day operations of the league. I'm so excited for you all to hear about all the amazing events coming up and all the work these teams have accomplished so far this year. But first, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the 40 women who have been recognized as Junior League of Charlotte rock stars. Their names are on these 2 slides and were all submitted by fellow league members as going above and beyond in their JLC placements. Please congratulate all these outstanding women and remember to nominate your fellow league members who are living out our mission as Junior League of Charlotte change agents.
Good evening, Junior League of Charlotte. If you go to the next slide, please. The 10 women standing before you in this photo are fierce fundraisers and change agents that encompass Fund Development Council, or FDC, which includes Annual Fund, Corporate Partner Stewardship, Spring Fundraiser, Little Black Dress Initiative, Planned Giving, Hospitality and Internal Events, and the Social Committee. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Alexandra Weitzel, and I am the manager of FDC, where these fierce fundraisers and I are responsible in ensuring the longevity of the Junior League of Charlotte and to give back to our community partners. However, did you know that by being a part of the Junior League that you're a fierce fundraiser too? Let me explain. Next slide. Every donation that you make or even raise through one of our fundraisers goes directly into the Charlotte community. Did you know that the JLC helped build this city through nearly 100 years of investment? Few organizations have the long-term influence and commitment to Charlotte's nonprofits than the Junior League of Charlotte, and its fingerprints can be seen all across the city of Charlotte institutions like Charlotte Nature Museum, Discovery Place, Charlotte Speech and Hearing, Reed Park Academy, and Levine Children's Hospital and Family Resource Center. This past year, 2020 to 2021, we were able to deploy resources into the community totaling $52,000. This is significantly less than we have been able to provide in the last years. But your support allows us to continue to give back to our community partners. You heard earlier from our speakers, Judge McCoy Mitchell, Dr. Barnes, and Ms. Hardison. Resources have especially been depleted. And Amanda from the Board of Directors mentioned our legacy. With that being said, a goal of FDC for 2021 to 2022 is to be able to increase the amount that we are able to give back into the community each year. I encourage you, if you have not yet donated to Annual Fund tonight, consider logging into Digital Cheetah. I know we're all on our laptops. Make a $5, $10, $15 donation so that we can ensure that we are able to continue to support important community partners like DigiBridge, Sugar Creek Charter, and Bright Blessings. That $52,000 raised for our community partners was great, but year over year costs rise, and we want to continue to ensure that we are doing all we can to support. If you have any questions, please do reach out to myself or Assistant Manager Kaylee Boggs. We're happy to answer. Now, here are some of our upcoming big initiatives that you can mark on your calendars right now. Take a quick photo with your phone. I already mentioned Annual Fund and this ongoing effort. You can donate tonight. Mark your calendars for Little Black Dress Initiative on March 7th through the 11th, 2022, and invite a friend within the league or even outside to participate.
Spring fundraiser will have a date soon. And of course, while this is not necessarily fundraisers in the traditional sense, Social Committee has already done a fabulous job laying out the calendar for 2021. And this past month in August hosted 25 women at L Thrifty at Optimus Hall. There will be a Panthers tailgate on Sunday, September 19th. And the Social Committee is also going to start monthly coffee meetups in various locations. To join the interest list, please email socialcommitteejlc@gmail.com. And please also remember to check the JLC Facebook page and Digital Cheetah for other announcements. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for the time. I'm passing it to Sarah Lynn.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sarah Lynn Davis, the Human Resources Council Manager. And the Human Resources Council is the group that's responsible for helping ensure that you all have the best possible membership experience in your time in the Junior League. We help manage all of your people needs within the Junior League. So with that being said, all of you should have an advisor, at least our active membership and our provisionals. So transfer advisors, membership advisors, and provisional advisors should all have reached out to you. So if you have not heard from your advisor by now, please email us at jlcharlotte.hrc@gmail.com. Your advisor is going to be your primary point of contact this year for all of your questions, JLC. What are the things that I am responsible for doing this year? How do I get credit for coming to this membership meeting? I might need to go on a sort of flexible leave. What are my options there? So any and all questions, your advisor can answer them or help get you to the right person to answer them. The other important update is for HRC, we manage placements. So if you do not have a placement yet, then you can email placementsjlc@gmail.com. We definitely still have committees with spots available, both internal and community placements. So if you haven't gotten plugged in, make sure you do that. This is for active members only. And if active members who don't have a placement by the end of this month will automatically be moved to flexible leave non-tenure, which just means that you still are a member of the JLC. It just doesn't count towards your years of credit for sustaining. We also wanted to congratulate some of our outstanding rock stars on HRC, Shelly, Alyssa, and Caroline. Thank you to all of you ladies for your contributions to the league. We appreciate all you do. And next slide. We wanted to give an especially warm welcome to our provisional class for 2021-2022. We have about 100 ladies who are joining us this year. We are so excited to have you and are excited for all that you get to do this year. And within that class, wanted to call out some provisional rock stars from July, Julia, Alexandra, and Cammie. And in the members Facebook page, we've also announced some provisional rock stars for this month as well. And so again, thank you all for all of your contributions, and we're excited for all that this year holds for our provisionals. And that's all for HRC.
Good evening. My name is Paris McAdoo. I am your current Education and Training Council Manager, and I'm happy to be here with you tonight. Our council has the esteemed pleasure of really aligning with our mission and making sure that we give you trainings that are impactful and that help you grow. This year, we have a full roster of events that we know are going to help you blossom. This is an opportunity for you to invest in yourself. You give a lot to the league, and so this is the league's opportunity to help you. A lot of our trainings are geared to personal development as well as professional development. Right now, we currently have our applications open for the Leadership Development Institute. Please consider joining that program. It is very impactful. The book that they're going to be using this session is going to be Successful Women Think Differently. And we do. And we want to make sure that we have all the tools in our warehouse to make sure that we're using all of our tools appropriately. So please make sure that you register, that you sign up for that program, do the application, so that, because the applications close on September 17th. Get On Board is our next awesome program that we've got planned. You'll hear more about this as we move through the fall. This session usually is January through May. Applications will open before the holidays in November, so stay tuned for more information about this program. This is definitely a great program if you are looking to do more external work in the community. This will give you hands-on training about sitting on boards, what the responsibilities go into sitting on boards, and the community impact that comes along with that as well. A lot of our members that have participated in this program actually are placed on boards in the community, and this has been a very helpful resource for them to get their feet wet. We've heard from our panelists tonight about all the things that are going on in our community, how the Junior League can be of assistance. Our Public Policy and Advocacy Committee has 2 dynamic trainings that will be coming down the pipeline. One will actually be next month at the end of October, October 30th. It will be geared to City and Government 101. This is where you can learn all things Charlotte and Mecklenburg, what our leaders are standing for, where JLC's role is and some of that advocacy, and how you can be a part of that. Also, and then finally, we all just need a mentor. We all just need a sounding board sometimes, someone that we can relate to, someone we've heard about our affinity groups. The mentor program is where you can find someone to align with you. Last year, we had a really, really strong program. And I think just with a lot of all the things that's been happening in the world right now, we all just needed someone that we could just chat with, relate to, especially since we didn't have our normal league experience. Applications are currently open now for the mentor program for both if you'd like to be a mentee or a mentor. So please make sure that you get your application in by September 12th. And please make sure you reach out to Christine Rasmussen if you have any questions about that program, because they're going to be kicking off on September 16th. On our next slide, you'll see our big program that we have gotten a lot of great feedback. We've got a lot of phone calls and emails about when are we starting. Training Tuesdays are coming in October. Before you see the list of trainings that will take place from October to May. The theme this year is personal and professional growth. We want you to invest in you. We want you to think of the Junior League as a new pot with new soil, and we just want you all to flourish this year. So please make sure that you check out the JLC calendar and Digital Cheetah. Make sure that you register for your event so that you can stay alert with all the registrations. Right now, you'll only be able to register for like the first 3 just to make sure that we've got room for everyone. So I hope to see you soon in person with our trainings, but I'm looking forward to seeing your square for our first Training Tuesday in October. And I think those are all the updates for ENT, and I will pass it to Shannon with CIC.
All right, thank you so much, Paris. So my name is Shannon Eckerd. I am the Community Impact Council Manager, and I'm excited to share some updates with you tonight. So first of all, we're going to talk about what we do at the Community Impact Council. And so you've heard tonight about school readiness. What we do is we actually enact that in the community to ensure that children with our community partners and our key zip codes are school ready. And we do that by coordinating volunteer efforts for more than 200 Junior League of Charlotte members. So some of the successes that we've had this summer, we've impacted, this is just through July, already almost 700 community members. We've contributed around 70 volunteer hours. We've actually started submitting our community partner budgets, which allows us to distribute our funds to those placements in the community. And that equates to about $51,000 in grant money that we are putting in the hands of our partners. We've held kickoff meetings with all 12 of our community partners to create strategies around volunteer engagement and what that will look like this year. So what's up next for us is one of the most important tasks that we do every year, and that's project development and evaluation day. That's taking place on November 6th. We're going to come together as a group from across councils and committees in the Junior League of Charlotte and come together to decide which placements we would like to put forth to you as our members to vote on as our slate of community placements for the next Junior League year. So definitely look for more information on that throughout the league year. And of course, we're going to be creatively volunteering. We are going to put on our thinking caps to impact the community, but at the same time to protect our partners, our community, and our members during this pandemic. So on the next slide, I want to share with you just some of the great successes that our committees have already had this year. And so Alexander Youth Network, they're completing volunteer orientation so they can start to have that impact. Bright Blessings has already built almost 700 hygiene and snack kits for children experiencing homelessness in the Charlotte community. Charlotte Speech and Hearing, they're completing active reader training so they can hit the ground running. Classroom Central, they've been furiously packing school supplies for teachers and for students. Heart Math Tutoring has just been completing their training so that they can be rock star tutors starting in October. Sugar Creek Charter School is actually planning a family night. Thompson Child and Family Focus have been shopping for and creating back to school kits, and they're actually also planning a virtual back to school night. And so after hearing all this, if you are interested in volunteering, you don't have to sit on CIC to volunteer. We will be posting opportunities throughout the year on the JLC Facebook members only page. Please be on the lookout for that. We would love to see you at a volunteer event in the future. Thank you so much, and I am now going to turn it over to Juliana with Communications Council.
Hi, everybody. My name is Juliana O'Rourke, and thank you so much for joining us tonight and sticking around. If you go to the next slide, a couple of things and different ways that you can connect with the Junior League of Charlotte is through the happenings, and that is an email newsletter that we publish 2 times a month. You can also check out the JLC link, which is our blog, and we are pushing out new blog posts every Monday. We also have The Crier, which is a magazine that we publish once in the fall and then once in the summer. So make sure to get your hands on a copy of that or check it out when we send it out virtually to everybody. Also give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as well. I know prior to this meeting, I was approving members through the Facebook group. So make sure that you're checking us out in all of those places, and also tag us using hashtag JL Charlotte and hashtag JL Change Agents. And also, it's not on the slide, but please make sure to always send us pictures as you're participating in events and you're out in the community doing the great work that you're doing, or even if you're just at your home kind of putting bags together, whatever it may be, we always want those photos from everybody. So if you go ahead and move forward to the next slide, you'll also see, as Sarah Lynn mentioned, we are actually still looking for an ad sales coordinator. So if anybody is interested or knows of someone that's interested, please shoot me an email or reach out. Any of our channels, I'll see the messages. So we are looking for an ad sales coordinator at the moment. And those are all the updates I have. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Juliana, and thank you, management team. Wow, what a meeting, and what great work each of our teams is doing to further our mission in reaching the community. What great work you are doing, Junior League of Charlotte. So let's be sure to tell everyone we know by posting about tonight's meeting on social media using the hashtag JLChangeAgents, as Juliana mentioned. Now, as we conclude this meeting would not have been possible without the leadership of our General Membership Meetings Committee, led by Committee Chair Frajavan Talley and Vice Chair Christina Quarterman, as well as our Office Manager, Angela Steed. Thank you each for everything you did to plan, not only an in-person meeting, but everything you did to quickly adjust and turn this meeting into an effective, efficient, and fun virtual experience. Thank you. JLC, please share your thanks and gratitude for them in the chat. All right, so as a few reminders and updates. First, be on the lookout for post-GMM social events and opportunities for us to connect, both in person and virtually. These events, hosted by our management team and board members, are being posted to the JLC calendar in the weeks following this meeting, so be sure to check there. Some are already posted, so check them out now. Also, as another exciting announcement, as we celebrate our Association of Junior League International centennial this year and 100 years of impact across our Junior League footprint, the association is laser focused on our future and our next 100 years. As a part of this effort, the association is exploring a new mission and vision statement to unite, define, and guide us in the years that follow. How exciting is that, to be a member now at such a time? Be on the lookout for small focus groups for you to provide input in this exciting and important process. And as an additional reminder, in alignment with Mecklenburg County's mask mandate, JLC members and staff are required to wear masks and face coverings inside the JLC building. Everyone is encouraged to utilize virtual meeting options if you're uncomfortable indoors or around others. So please go to our internal website for more information and information on our current COVID-19 response plan, which went into effect beginning September 1st. This plan provides instruction regarding our JLC operations and activities during the pandemic. And it really is to help us just manage throughout the pandemic in a safe and efficient manner. So thank you for that. All right, so next, be sure to check out your email for the GMM Know Before You Go email, which will include information on how to receive credit for attending the GMM tonight. If you don't see it, check your spam folder. And if you don't see it there, please contact the office at office@jlcharlotte.org, and we will make sure you have the information you need to receive credit. Now, in conclusion, my hope is that through this meeting, with all our moving parts, you have a greater sense of how we are all united in a common goal to further our mission, and you can see yourself as a part of our rich legacy, our history, and ongoing work. We are change agents, and we are ready to lead. And with that, at 8:26 p.m., the September 8th, 2021 Junior League of Charlotte General Membership Meeting is adjourned.